we go again. Today's main topic is family. Yes, family. What a wonderful group of people. We'll meet two of Cirque du Soleil's great family members. Have you ever heard of chickpea fritters? Well, Chef Sergi de Meià will be cooking them for us. And in just a few moments, Marc Broderick, Mr. Stereotype, presents us another of his useless investigations. The Weekly Mag, your English spoken show, hosted by Marcela Topor.
Hello and welcome to The Weekly Mag, your TV show 100% in English. As you've already heard in our summary, today's topic is family. And we are going to deal with it from different angles, all of them very interesting. Well, I'm very intrigued to see what Marc Broderick's research today tells us. Marc, what have you brought us today about family?
Well, to be honest, this was really complicated, this whole process, because my family generated a lot of internal conflict inside. No, it's like I think about my family and I think of family feud, this constant fighting and stuff like that. And then the complications of the families in general, so in fact it was quite difficult.
Well, family is a delicate topic, no?
It is indeed. It is a delicate topic, and it brings out in people it generates a certain amount of stress sometimes. Not just love. Everybody imagines family as love and happiness and everything. It does generate a certain amount of stress, yes.
Well, it's a very personal thing, right?
It is.
To talk about your family, but today we want to talk about families in general. We would like to compare families here in Catalonia and families in northern European countries, and especially Ireland, which is where you're from.
Exactly. I brought you a video today. I hope that you'll like it, because it does deal with families from all over the world, in fact, not just Northern Europe, which I think
Where did you go this time to film?
Where did we go this time? We went to near Tibidabo, actually, up on top of the mountain. A really family atmosphere. It was nice, actually. It was good fun.
With Danny again?
With Danny again, yeah, my trusty cameraman.
Okay, so let's watch the video and then we'll comment everything we see in it.
Hello, Mom, Dad, are you there? No, I lost the connection. They must be camping. It's so difficult to get in contact with my family sometimes. I mean, wonder how other families communicate. And are they the same as us? Let's go find out. Let's figure out how the other families get on. Tell me a little bit about your family.
I have 5 brothers and sisters. Well, stepbrothers, stepsisters, brothers, sisters, but we are living in community.
My father works in Colombia, her wife in Ecuador, my mom lives here. I have family also in the United States.
There's never a point in the year where you all decide to come and meet somewhere like, let's go to Mallorca, everybody.
No.
My sister works with me, and I have more relations with my sister for the company than to be family.
I have 8 kids.
How do you control the chaos?
You don't try.
And tell me, what do you use the bicycle for? Is it to escape your family at the weekends?
No, for sure, no.
What age did you decide you were going to leave home?
I was 19 when I moved out.
You haven't left your mom's home yet?
No, I haven't. I'm just 22, so I hope the next year. Because here in Barcelona, the life is very expensive, and I am studying 2 degrees, and it's impossible to compaginate everything.
High prices in Barcelona are stopping the kids leaving home. Do you bring your washing home at the weekends?
I live too far away, so I do my own laundry. Well, I must admit that first year I really did that, but then after that, no, not anymore. I do my own wash.
Very good.
Me too.
Even though you live at home?
Yes, of course, and I cook everything for me.
Very good. You're an independent living at home.
Yeah.
Hey Shane, have you heard anything from Mom and Dad? Nothing. Typical. Still no luck finding my parents. Do you have friends that you would consider more than your family, or is family more important than having friends?
Wow. The family is a bit more very,
very small bit.
Yes, okay. A bit more important.
But she's one of my best friends, and I have considered her like my sister.
Okay.
It's different mother, but we are like sisters, and it's
You would do anything for her.
I can't express in English how much I love.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. Is it a mutual feeling?
Yes.
It's mutual.
No.
It's not mutual.
Yes, it's mutual. It's mutual.
So I learned two really important things today. Family is as complicated as a mathematical problem which Einstein would struggle with, and also they're transitional. They keep moving around. And it's not moving. I think I need to loosen up and go hug some people.
Well, Mark, tell me, did you manage to get to talk to your parents finally?
I still think they're camping. I haven't actually got in contact with them now. I think it's going on 3 weeks. It's
Really?
Before I used to send letters to my dad used to send me letters. They used to reach faster than communicating with them now, even though we have WhatsApp and Skype. It's crazy.
Right. How long ago was it when he used to write letters to you?
20 years ago. He used to send them to Canada. I'm sure like they rowed a boat across the Atlantic or something to bring the letters to me. But now with WhatsApp and Skype, you'd imagine that it was easier. But as you can see, not that easy. Not that easy.
Tell me, are you the kind of independent person? Did you leave home when you were very young? How did it go?
I've been dying to leave my home since I was about 12. I remember saying to my friend, you know, there's a big world out there and we're living in this small island and there's so much to see. And I think that's kind of like the mentality that a lot of Irish people have as well. I mean, the roads just finish. You keep driving, you'll end up in the Atlantic. So people just grab the plane and they disappear when they're 18, 19. Very different
So
to
it's
here.
a common attitude there.
Absolutely. And not just common in Ireland, I would say it's common in all the British Isles. Any island community wants to leave the island. Who wants to stay there? Come on.
But what about the families? Don't you miss your families?
The families. I mean, come on.
Well, we're talking about families today.
I love my family very much, okay? I must say that. I love the guys very much, but I must say that they're very, very different than they are here, for example. Here, people love to spend time with their families. I mean, my mother used to feed me with this long spoon porridge so she didn't have to touch me almost. It's like, I'm exaggerating a little bit.
The personal space and the way to show your attention, that's another topic. A big topic actually when we talk about families, no?
That's
and
true.
family relationships.
Maybe I'm deviating a little bit from the topic. Sorry, I'll go back to what I was saying.
Okay, we'll talk
then.
about that later.
We'll talk about that one later. So getting back to the point then, the families here, they have these trovadas, no? They get-togethers, let's say, no? They have the
Like
cousin,
the gatherings, no?
The gatherings, no? It's like the gathering of like in the desert for Burning Man, you know? Like all of the all of the families get together for the butifarrada, where they have these sausage parties. That sounds terrible.
We have the butifarradas, the calçotadas. And every week you have the Sunday lunch, right?
Don't talk to me about the Sunday lunch. I have lived and endured that for the last like 10 years of my life almost. I rebel against it. But again, I can't criticize it. We cannot criticize it because at the end of the day, the family is here.
It's a nice thing to meet your family, right?
It is, yeah. I'd love to see my mum 7 days a week. No, I'm joking. I mean, as we will find out, or as you already know, like these whole get-togethers on a Sunday can be quite a stressful experience as well because they get together, they talk about what's going on during the week, they talk about the children, they talk about politics, they talk about sport, but they don't give each other breathing space then in order to digest that and meet again at a later stage. It's the following week, the same conversations, the same things. But I guess at the end of the day, they're more close-knit. They have this, you know, they feel more comfortable with each other.
I see it more as a way of catching up with your family, no? With your mom and dad, your brother and sisters, and sometimes the rest of the family can join in, no? Like
the cousins, my grandfather, for example, had 18 brothers and sisters, and they had a family. 18.
8 or 18?
18.
Oh
18. Can you imagine? She must have been up on her legs like this for 20 years giving birth. But I mean, they have these huge families. Imagine if I had a cousinada with the 18 brothers and sisters of my grandfather.
Now I see why you avoid to see your family.
Like the plague, like the plague.
Okay, let's see.
Yes.
Let's continue talking about, you said you wanted to get back to the topic of personal space, no? And the way of showing affection.
Our way of showing
That's quite different, no, I think?
Exactly.
In your country. From here.
I'll exaggerate a little bit, but not too much. But our way of showing affection is kicking each other under the table at Sunday lunch, you know? Not that we had many Sunday lunches.
But I suppose you used to do that when you were a kid, no? You stopped doing that, I hope.
Oh no, my mother still kicks me now when I go home. If I say something out of place, I get this kick under the table and it's like, shh. At least here, when people sit down for dinner, people actually have a conversation and everything is open. And they kiss each other, they hug each other. They take very good care of the children. Like even if the children are playing on the streets and stuff, the mother always comes and grabs them and hugs them and holds them. I mean, in Ireland, the only time we touch people is when we bury them.
Come on, you're so exaggerated. Come on, let's move on. Let's talk about this. I'm really interested in the way of showing affection and how people from the Anglo-Saxon world feel about it. I mean, was it hard for you to come here and didn't you feel like overwhelmed by all this, like, because people here are quite touchy, right? They like touching and hugging themselves or each other all the time.
You know what the funny thing is? I found it really difficult at the beginning in social situations because you don't know which side you have to kiss. So it ended up with lots of really uncomfortable situations where you end up kissing an older man who happens to be your father-in-law. You know, for example, because you go to the left, he goes to the right. It's like a whole dynamic, you know? It's nuts.
What
But
about the
nice.
cobra situation?
The cobra situation, exactly.
That's
That happens when my
another
mom arrives. Because my mom walks around like this and people go to kiss her and she doesn't know why the men and the women are coming
Let's
to kiss
tell
her.
viewers what the cobra situation is, because I'm not sure that everyone knows what it means.
Well, imagine that I go to kiss somebody or give them the 2 kisses on the cheek and the person goes like this, no? Like a cobra, they retract, no? Like the cobra dances. So that's what I call the cobra situation. It happens a few times, yeah. Also, another interesting point is leaving home. As you pointed out, we leave home really, really early at 18, like we're ready to go. We have our bags packed on the night before our 18th birthday and the following day we're out the door. Here, they stay till they're 30 and they go home to get their washing cleaned. I used to live with a guy from Asturias who would drive 600 kilometers to get his washing cleaned in another town. That's incredible. Why would you do that?
Well, I would say that's quite unusual. But why do you think that happens? Why do you think that people here leave home later than in the UK?
I guess that you would say that the housing prices have a lot to do with it nowadays.
Yeah, that's possible.
The feeling that the family connection, no? The link that they have with the family is a lot stronger. So I mean, like they feel like they'll move 20 kilometers away, they still feel very far away. I don't really know why, to be honest. Maybe the housing, maybe the fact that they wait here, maybe they're more traditional, they wait to get married to leave the house. I don't know, it's a fascinating topic indeed.
Well, anyway, thank you for coming today to talk
No
about
problem.
family, right?
Yes.
Next time we'll talk about a different topic. And take care until then.
Thank you very much. See you soon.
See you soon. Let's watch a new tips video made by our friends at the International House in Barcelona. In it you'll find a good number of words related to family. Take good note.
Today's topic is family. Now, the traditional definition of a family are people who are related by blood or marriage. But I personally prefer the idea that anyone, regardless of who they are, can be united in one group by one single thing. And that, of course, is love. So, people in your family are called your relatives. And this can mean your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, usually the people you live with. Now, they're your nuclear family, or we call them immediate family. But what about the other people in your family? Your grandparents, your aunties, your uncles, your cousins? Well, they're your extended family. But of course, definitions of family have changed. So now we have families that are single-parent families, where it's just one adult and their offspring. Now, offspring is a beautiful word we use in English to describe children or descendants. Now, if you're lucky like me and my family are very close. We share a lot in common, and you could call us peas in a pod. But some people aren't so lucky. In some families, there's one person who doesn't quite fit in with the values, and that person is the black sheep. Now, of course, when there's a black sheep, there's also the opposite. So sometimes in a family, there is a favorite child, or as we say in English, they're the apple of their mum or dad's eye. Now, of course, there's no apple right here. It's an expression that means they're the most important thing that their parents see. Now, I'm quite lucky because I'm the apple of both my parents' eye, but that's because I'm a single child. So, there you go. Until next time, I'll see ya.
Thrilling stunts, dazzling costumes and makeup, incredible acting and a fascinating story. Totem, Cirque du Soleil's latest show, demonstrates just how far human ability to create beauty can go. It is a journey through the evolution of life on Earth, from the first amphibians to the most fascinating dreams of human science. And today, we are lucky enough to have two very special guests here in the Weekly Mag. They are part of the Cirque du Soleil team in charge of Totem, which can be seen in L'Hospitalet de Llobregat until the 20th of May. As usual, before starting the interview, have a look at this brief glossary of words that will appear in the talk. Here you go.
First concept to remember: performance. A performance involves entertaining an audience by doing something such as singing, dancing, or, in today's case, circus acting. The second word you need to know is acrobatics. As you may have already guessed, an acrobatic movement or display involves difficult physical acts such as jumping and balancing, especially in a circus. Pay attention to the following adjective: tight. In the interview, the two acrobats explain that the costumes they wear in the show are rather small and fit closely to the body, so the costumes are tight. And finally, yet importantly, have a look at this expression: to avoid. If you want to avoid something unpleasant that might happen, you take action in order to prevent it from happening. For example, the acrobats avoid risk by training hard and focusing on their technique.
Well, we have here today two of the acrobats of Totem, John Bus and Alexei Lyubezny. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Well, John, you're from Pennsylvania, right? And Alexei, you're from Belarus.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me, which is your role in this show, Totem?
Would you like to go first?
Yeah.
Yes, John?
John, go ahead.
Okay, I'm a frog. We are in the first act of the show, and it sort of tries to capture the Big Bang, is a way to see it. And it's a mix between gymnastics high bar and also a sort of trampoline. And we have this big shell structure, the carapace, and we use all three things to kind of make an act.
Wow, that's impressive. Tell me about you, Alexei.
I'm in the last act, representing the last evolution. I'm a cosmonaut.
Cosmonaut, wow.
My role is a cosmonaut. I'm jumping on Russian bar. It's 3 poles taped together, and it's really flexible, which makes me fly high. 2 guys on the sides hold this bar, and I'm in the middle jumping up and down. And as I said, I'm representing cosmonaut, Aztec.
Right. Well, the costumes are impressive, as always, in Cirque du Soleil. The frogs, especially, I think, and the cosmonauts. Tell me a little bit about the costumes. I know there's an interesting story behind it.
Yeah, well, they're full body spandex, so it's very tight and it covers all of your body. But ours are
both comfortable.
I think you get used to it. Yeah. So maybe at the beginning,
it's a little tight, and then,
right.
especially when you receive a new pair of new costume, you need like a week to wash it, to wear it.
Get used to it.
It's like a new pair of shoes. But
you have to break it down.
Yeah, but they're really cool. They're very colorful, and they're shiny too in some parts, especially when you get a new costume.
Bright.
They really go off in the lights.
What about the makeup?
It's a pretty long process.
It's the best part.
Yeah, the frog makeup is really intense. It goes from, the top of our head to, below the Adam's apple. And we have a bunch of different steps to do. We have like 15
4 layers.
Yeah, we have like 15 different circles we have to make around our eye. We have glue, And then we also have an airbrush process with all the green dots on our face, so it's involved.
How long does it take, the makeup, for each of you?
For each people is different. For me, like 45 minutes, I would say.
45 every evening?
Yeah,
evening.
that's about my average too.
Well, let's talk about your career. How did you get into becoming acrobats, and how did you get to Cirque du Soleil?
I did gymnastics since I was a little kid, and then when I went to college, I had a scholarship to be on a college gymnastics team. And at the end of my university career and my degree, I met the casting people at Cirque du Soleil, and we started talking about availability and if I could go there, if they would want me. And it ended up working out, and I went to the training program. And from there, I started working on shows.
I see. How long ago was that?
It was about 7.5 years ago.
Okay. And which was the first show you participated in with Cirque du Soleil?
I started with Mystere, which is in Las Vegas.
Right.
And from there I did Alegria in the arenas, and then I came to Totem.
I see. What about you, Alexei?
My story is pretty
similar?
Pretty the same, yeah.
Right.
I was acrosport. I was doing acrosport with my partner Anatoly Barabikov, and same we went to a big competition like a world championship where Cirque du Soleil participate, and they hunting for new talents. And I was one of them. They gave us an invitation, and we accepted because career was in a time where you think to end. It was almost the end of our career as a sportsman, so we was looking for something different, and the Cirque is perfect for an athlete to continue on.
Has this always been your dream, becoming a
member
of the Cirque du Soleil team?
Because when I first started with Cirque du Soleil, it was not as popular. We knew about the Cirque du Soleil, but it was unreachable, unbelievable to work there.
Right.
So it was kind of a big dream, but we didn't know it's gonna come through. But when you're there, when you start to do the show, and it's unbelievable.
And your brother is also in this show, right? In
Yeah,
Totem?
he used to work with me as well. I worked previously in Alegria show, Big Top, and now in Totem, and my brother also worked with me in Alegria and Totem. My family also with me traveling at the moment. I have a child, 2 years old, I have a wife, so...
And they all travel with you?
Yes.
What about you, John?
I have a girlfriend, and she works with me, so...
Okay, great. Tell me, what is it that you would recommend most of the whole show? If you had to highlight something, what would that be?
I'm going to be selfish and say the Frogs Act. It's a very kind of efficient act. It's not super long, it's probably 4 minutes when we're actually on stage, but there's a bunch of action all the time, and there's really crazy lights. There's a lot of people on stage, so there's a lot of action. And yeah, and it's just, and it's got great acrobatics.
Of course. What about you, Alexei?
Each act is individual, and each act will make you feel different, and that's what the Cirque magic is, that you have to feel all sorts of emotions. I would say the final dance is the moment where everything becomes alive, and everybody dancing, shining, all the costumes on stage, all the lights is on, and it's the happiest moment in the show, I would say so.
I want to ask you about risk. I think it's quite unavoidable not to mention risk when we talk about your job, right? Have you ever felt at risk? Do you think that risk is really necessary to maintain tension during the show?
I think everybody that's doing an acrobatic act does feel the risk and is aware of the danger that they're doing. And I think you try to not worry so much about the risk, because the best way to deal with that is to focus on your technique and what you've learned throughout your training and experience doing shows. So I think that's the way to manage it.
That's what I think most of the professionals do. They need to avoid all these thoughts about danger and extreme things and just concentrate on, as he said, technique and quality of the trick. That's what makes you forget about all this danger, but it is
Of
it is
course,
there.
it's always there.
Yeah, but
Right.
you cannot go away.
Well, John and Alexei will continue our chat about Totem, but before we're going to take a few minutes off, we'll leave you with the usual quote, this time from the American writer and humorist Irma Bombeck, a regular contributor to several newspapers during the 1960s and 1970s. Of course, it's about our today's topic, family. We'll be back in a few minutes. Hello again. We're back in the Weekly Mag. Today we are talking about Cirque du Soleil's last show called Totem. We have here with us John Buse and Alexei Lubezny, two of the acrobats of this show. And we are also fortunate to have with us a person who knows well how Cirque du Soleil works in its headquarters in Montreal. Tim Parfit, welcome to the Weekly Mag.
Nice to be here.
And we also have with us a journalist, a colleague of us, who prepared a special report on the headquarters of Cirque du Soleil in l'Hospitalet del Llobregat. Joan Kama, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. Tell us, Joan, what impressed you most from your visit at Cirque du Soleil in l'Hospitalet del Llobregat?
Well, you were previously talking about the costumes, so I was very impressed by the Totem closet. You know, there are like 750 different pieces of clothing, and they are very colorful and shiny, and that's pretty impressive actually. I would love to take one home actually.
Well, we'll see about that. I'm not sure if that's okay. What do you think?
No, it's probably not okay, but you could try to run really fast if you get back inside.
Well, Tim Parfit, tell us, I know you prepared a lot of information about the headquarters of Cirque du Soleil in Montreal. Tell us what you found out.
Well, a quiz question really to begin with. I mean, the headquarters in Montreal is described as a laboratory of creativity. And Cirque du Soleil is always very keen to reinvent itself. So that's a clue to the question. Can you guess on what site the headquarters stands, where it stands now? What was the original site? Marcela, do you know that?
I'm sorry, I don't.
Well, it was formerly a waste disposal centre.
Wow.
Did you know that? Did you guys know that?
I didn't know that.
Waste disposal centre, yeah.
It's still there, right?
It proudly, the headquarters proudly stands in the underprivileged Montreal borough of Saint-Michel, I think you pronounce it, on the site of a former sand pit and the Montreal Waste Treatment and Disposable Centre. And the reason it's there is because it's part of a complete environmental urban regeneration program, which I think is fantastic. The Cirque du Soleil are very proud of their urban renewal and sustainability. You know? So did you you've been there, I presume?
Yeah,
yes,
for sure.
Yeah, and did you witness that? Because I also understand that they grow all their own food, or a lot of their own food.
Yeah, there's definitely a garden there.
In front of the main entrance, there is some gardens.
Yeah, and they have the fruit trees and vegetables and so forth.
Yeah.
And that's what they cook for you there. Is it a special diet?
It's for the people who works in. I don't know what's the reason for that, but it is there.
They definitely use some of the food that they grow.
For sure,
yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what it's for, because it is a special creative philosophy that they have, which I think is fantastic. It's all part of the philosophy of the business of the Cirque du Soleil. No? And they have a food garden, and that transforms and evolves with the seasons. And they have shrubs, apple trees, and rose bushes, and so forth. And the gardeners have established a space to grow vegetables and herbs right next to the building. And they prepare all the employee food and so forth. I think that's fantastic. Yeah. But inside the building, it must be quite a cool place to hang out as well, literally. No?
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, you've got ropes and swings and trapezes inside. You've got a gymnasium inside, haven't you?
It's a big studios that.
Yeah.
It's like a warehouse.
Yeah, it's exactly what they have.
You can get lost. Like if you don't know where to go, it's so easy to get lost.
And the studios are really, really tall too, because sometimes they have to mimic the grid that we would have on a resident show or on a touring show, and those are, you know.
Yeah, they put sometimes they put the real stage before we open the show, the new show.
So it has to have the capability of, you know, housing a whole show in each of these studios, and they have maybe 3 studios that are that size, and they also have a different training studio that's a little bit smaller, that's more for just training, not for housing a show.
And do you train there? Do you go back there to train? I mean, do you spend time training there at the very beginning, or what?
Yeah, I went there at the beginning, and then I haven't been back since. So it's like 7 years ago when I was at the headquarters last time.
When you start to work in the show, you're not going there as maybe you won't go there anymore, but before you go to the show, you have like 6 months of trainings. Yeah. That's what it used to be. Maybe they've changed the rules.
Yeah.
But that's how you get into the Montreal, into the studios, and then from there you go to the show and you never come back. You know?
Right, so it's like the usual procedure, no, to become a member of Cirque du Soleil.
And then maybe if you change the show or you're there for some special project, then you go back to Montreal. But since you're in the show and you work every day, you just do your job at the big top. That's it.
Do they have other offices worldwide where you go to train if you're traveling?
No places where we would actually go train anywhere else in the world. I think there are some offices somewhere in case, you know, well, when we have to go to a certain country, maybe it's a little bit harder for immigration or, you know, just culturally, like going to Japan, we work with people, and I think it would be more difficult for like Montreal staff to just pop everything in Japan, because it's hard over there. I don't know how to speak Japanese. It's hard.
And we have here today with us Joan Cama, who went to l'Hospitalet de Llobregat to discover the backstage of Cirque du Soleil. Joan, tell us, why did they settle there?
Well, because Cirque du Soleil was looking for a space of 20,000 square meters of available surface, and they actually found it there in the neighborhood of Bellvitge. In fact, on the last September, Mayor of l'Hospitalet de Llobregat, Núria Marín, signed agreement collaboration with Cirque du Soleil, so this Canadian company will settle there, a permanent headquarters until 2030 in L'Hospitalet de Llobregat.
Okay, that's great. Let's get into the backstage of Totem.
Hello, we are already here. Come closer. We are in L'Hospitalet de Llobregat, and I'm so happy because we are on the main entrance of the Cirque du Soleil. And since we want to discover what Totem is about, we will do it, but we will do it from the backstage. Come with us. Oh my God, I think I got lost. Well, don't worry guys, because we are already behind the scenes. So let's discover what we don't usually see from the Cirque du Soleil. We are now with Deborah. She is the head of the wardrobe. Hi Deborah, nice to meet you.
Hello, nice to meet you too.
We are with the most spectacular dress of the Totem show. Why that?
Okay, so this costume opens the show. It's called the Crystal Man, and he appears above and rotates down, and he then goes into the carapace where life begins on Earth.
So you have to take care of 750 pieces of dressing. Let's find Deborah's favorite dress.
Okay,
Deborah.
I think it's over here.
Really? Let's see it. Oh my gosh.
Yes, this is the green frog costume. And you can see it starts life as a piece of white lycra. So it then has a screen print done to it. And it's done to each artist's measurement specifically. So each artist has their own screen print for their body so that everything sits in the right place on the body.
I think this size wouldn't fit me at all.
Maybe not.
No, we will keep looking for my size, okay? Show me which one would fit me the best.
Let's have a look.
Let's see, something shiny. Oh my gosh, that's so shiny. Can I take it home?
No.
Well, I think I will take it home. I'm sorry. See you later. We are now on the kitchen. This is like a meeting point where artists and staff get together and eat, because artists eat as well. And actually, they're from more than 20 different countries. Let's talk to one of them. What do you do on the Totem show?
I do basically two different acts, rotating like from day to day. It's the Beach Boy Rings act, and then the Businessman Escalade act, which is kind of like monkey business, jungle thing.
How did you learn doing these adventurous things?
I used to do gymnastics before, for a long time, before Cirque du Soleil, and so there you learn the basic skills, but then here you have to learn the circus style, the circus things, and you learn to perform first of all. You do kind of the similar things what you would do in gymnastics, but in a different way.
We are now in the training space. We can see behind us one of the most popular numbers of the Totem show. This is 5 girls riding the unicycle. This is one of the most wowed numbers, and I can tell you that they got my wow. So, since we started backstage, we will say goodbye from the front stage. Now there's only one thing left to say. Come and live the Totem experience.
Well, well done. That was a great video.
Thank you very much. I had so much fun. And by the way, let me explain something that I said before. Sure. What I was trying to say is that whenever the Cirque du Soleil comes to Barcelona, they will settle in L'Hospitalet de Llobregat. And when I said the headquarter, I gotta say that the main headquarter is in Montreal, and what we have here in L'Hospitalet de Llobregat is Big Ten, right? Mm-hmm. That was what I was trying to say. And by the way, have you seen those big arms?
I think we've all seen that.
They were pretty impressive.
Impressive.
Yeah.
And now I think that requires a lot of training, no?
Yeah. I think he came, you knew him from the beginning, I think he came to Cirque du Soleil with big biceps, so I think he's just kept that going through his training and work.
Mm-hmm. What about your training? How many hours do you train every day?
I guess a lot of our training is sort of warming up for the show and sort of stretching and making sure that we're ready to do the rest of it. So actually time on the bar, we'll probably spend like 10 or 15 minutes before we go out and do the show. Mm-hmm. And but we'll have a training once a week normally, and that's about 45 minutes on the stage with the trampoline and the structure. So if we need to do that for maybe some changes we're going to make in the show or some things that we need to clean up, then we'll spend that time on stage to do that.
Tell us more about your daily routine and how it is different in Barcelona from other places you visited before.
We have like half of the day free, kind of. And if we have a training, we have to come earlier, but after that we have a like show call 1.5 hours before the show. And then here we go from this time until the end of the second show or the first show. We there all time. on each act is different regarding training.
So you sometimes do 2 shows a day, you mean?
Sometimes, yeah. Most of the time, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is 2 shows, and it depends on the week.
So tell me, is Cirque du Soleil really like a big family? I read that there are 46 acrobats, actors, musicians and singers from 21 countries, and that you have the support of 70 people in the technical team. That's a really large family.
Yeah. And it definitely does feel that way sometimes. I mean, you'll become really good friends with some people, and then when they leave, it can be pretty tough sometimes because a lot of your free time or time at work you'll be spending with this one person or a few people, and then when people leave, it is like someone moves away that you grew up with.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It is. Most of the time we spend in artistic tent, which is a place where we warm up, prepare for the show, and that's a place where we spend most of our day, and surrounding by the others. So you would say you see them more than your family every day.
Because do you have time to miss your real family?
Yeah, just before you go to work. You wake up, you have a breakfast, you have a chat to your family. Like I travel with my family and I try to spend this half of the day more with my family and then come as later as possible to work. So I know I'm there, I will come back home and they're all sleeping, so.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about
big fans of Barcelona, right?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Barcelona, but they were talking about good food, but we gotta tell it that you don't really have to go out of the circus to eat well because you have like 4 chefs with you, I think, and actually the day we visited you, you had paella for lunch, so you are lucky people.
Yeah, we have lots of different variety of foods every day. They try to spoil us.
Yeah, our chefs are all like really good. Sometimes we'll go out after, I mean, like on a day off or something, and you're like, wow.
We miss our kitchen.
And it's so simple, like you just walk like 15 meters from where we work and you get a great meal. It's really
nice. Do you have to follow a special diet?
I'd say no, but I mean, some people are...
It's all individual.
Yeah, it's all individual. Some people are a little bit more rigid with what they eat.
It also depends how you treat yourself. If you work more, you can eat more. If you not as active.
Can I ask what the average age of the performers are?
I don't really know. I'm 30, how old are you?
33.
So 31 and a half is the average age of this, but
this group.
maybe it's around there.
So what's the age of the eldest performer?
Let's say 50 is the oldest.
Yeah.
50. But it's 1 or 2 people, and then the youngest, what, 21, 20?
No, I think 18.
18?
18 to 50.
Yeah. Some of our unicycle girls are pretty young when they arrive here sometimes.
Sean, give us more details about your visit.
Well, we got into the kitchen and we also saw the training space, and we gotta say that there's a lot of silence there. You have to, people are very concentrated, right? And I don't know, it was very impressive because there were lots of things going on at the same moment, and people, they were just like focusing on their number, on their practicing. I don't know if you practice concretely on a concrete space, or you're like the whole day moving on and trying.
I think the whole day is sort of based around what we're going to be doing with our warming up and all that. So I think it is easy for us to sort of block out, other things that are going on inside the tent because we have our job to do, and our job.
I think even we have our own roads before the show. We have our own corners in each space. Everyone knows where the other people are.
And how do you make every single show like kind of special? Because you're doing practically the same thing day by day, and I guess you try to keep it new, right? Somehow, how do you do that?
I think, well, probably the first way is that you're trying to do the best job that you can do every day, But then to keep it fresh, maybe you will change a few little movements or try to think of something different while you're performing to get a different sort of performance out of yourself.
That's also depend on the experience, that when you're new, you kind of lost and you don't know what to do. Like for first 3, 4, 5 years, you're like trying to adapt to this. And then when you're a little more mature, you know what to do. And of course, for each person is individual. He knows how to deal with the group situation, you know.
Well, John and Alexei, thank you so much for coming today. It's been a real pleasure to have you here, and thank you for sharing all these details about Totem with us.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much.
And Tim, thank you. And Joan, thank you for this great video.
A pleasure.
And now I suggest you to pay attention to some more English tips. Rosabeth Griffin is going to talk about one of the main nightmares of non-natives, false friends. Stay calm, with her everything is easy and simple.
In English, we have some words which are very similar to other Catalan words, but they actually have a completely different meaning, and we call these false friends. So let's have a look at some of the false friends. For example, at home, your mum and dad don't sleep in a dormitory. A dormitory is where you sleep maybe in university or in school, boarding school. Your mum and dad at home sleep in their bedroom. And when they decided to have a baby, they didn't get embarrassed. Embarrassed is if you're feeling ashamed, maybe you do something inappropriate in public, but your mum got pregnant and you spent 9 months in her tummy. And when she was pregnant, she got larger, and your family also got larger. But it's important to know the difference between large and long. For example, if you're waiting at the cinema, your boyfriend's very late, it feels like you're waiting a long time. And maybe it comes the day where you want your parents to meet your boyfriend. That means you introduce your boyfriend. Mum, Dad, this is Michael. Now, it's not that you insert your boyfriend. Insert is what you take your credit card into a machine. And maybe the relationship goes on, and in the end, you want to introduce her to your grandmother, or as I call mine, my granny. My granny is the best person in the world. That's just a fact. See you.
Chickpea fritters. Have you ever cooked them? No? Well, in a few minutes, Chef Sergi de Meià will teach you how to do them.
Today's topic is family, and therefore, our portrait is not dedicated to one person, but two. Roy Lawson and Goretti Rorel are a Scottish Catalan couple who run together a guest house. They met in Edinburgh while working in a hotel. Over time, they decided to open a bed and breakfast in Catalonia. It is a restored 12th century rectory in La Garrotxa called La Rectoria de Sant Miquel de Pineda. Many people say they couldn't work with a husband or wife. Roy and Goretti have been working together for 7 years. If you want to know their secret, pay attention to the following video.
My name is Roy.
My name is Goretti.
We run La Rectoria de Sant Miquel de Pineda in La Garrotxa. We met about 20 years ago in Edinburgh in Scotland.
A long time ago.
At the Balmoral Hotel. I was starting out as a chef in the pastry section, and Goretti had arrived in Edinburgh about 6 months earlier to learn English.
Then we had different jobs, but we started going out and we got married in 2002. Then a few years after Roy being a chef, he wanted to have his own business, and I joined him on the idea. So the idea of the bed and breakfast appealed to us, and we thought Catalonia would be the best place as we could do season all year.
It was something of a gamble to go from a house which needed everything done to it to open as a viable business. But here we are 7 years later. I suppose at one level, without sounding grandiose, there's the management of the place. Apart from that, my principal role is the chef. cooking breakfast for guests, and we offer dinner. We offer a set dinner, and I do a bit of maintenance, a bit of gardening, so there's plenty of variety, but it's non-stop.
My main job is maybe front of the house, you would call it. So mainly I welcome the guests and I do all the socializing with them and trying to help them.
Apart from this crossover in decision making and various other elements, our roles are quite distinct. So when we're busy, we're often apart, because I'm maybe in the kitchen maybe 10, 12 hours a day or more, and Goretti's downstairs or doing other things. So there's not much tension, as there were, put it that way, in terms of the marriage.
You know, some people see more their colleagues at work than their families, and in our case we just share those two things. So, and the good thing is we live quite isolated, so if we have to shout at each other, then nobody can hear us, so it's an advantage. But no, it's nice. Yeah, we get on, and I think it's good fun. And we love the people we get. Socializing with our guests is just one of the nicest things we do, and we've got friends that these people have been coming and repeating and visiting us, and now they've become more than guests. They're just they're friends. And
the feedback we get from people, which is very positive, and when you're incredibly tired and you've been working days on ends, that's the intangible uplift, the benefit, puts a smile on your face when your legs are sore and you want to go to bed. But
He was born in Esplugues de Llobregat, but he feels he belongs to Vilanova de Meià in Lleida, where he used to spend his summers when he was a child. He grew up in the kitchen of the family restaurant run by his mother in Esplugues. Next to his grandparents from Vilanova de Meià, he learned the love for the land and its products. He discovered the pleasures of good food. He learned to choose the best fruits, mushrooms and meat to achieve the best aromas, tastes and textures. Sergi de Meià, welcome to the Weekly Mag.
Hey.
Hi. Well, it's great to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, me too. Well, the whole team actually. Before we start, Sergi, tell me about your name. De Meià is your real surname?
No, it's not my real surname. It's my village name. But 20 years ago, in my first chef work, the creators, they said that my surname was so long, so the people don't remember. And they asked me, what's the thing that you love more in your life? And it's Vilanova de Meià. So Sergi Vilanova, Sergi de Meià. I like Sergi de Meià. So the last 20 years, everybody knows me like Sergi de Meià.
Okay, great. So Sergi, what are we going to cook today? Because I want to help you as well.
Yeah,
let me.
We're gonna make a very old recipe. It's from the 16th century. It's a chickpeas fritters, okay, with Catalan cream.
So let's see what ingredients we need to cook this recipe.
First, liquids. Milk, fresh milk, always. If you can find fresh milk now, we are very lucky in Catalonia because we can buy again milk in the exploitation. So you can go to the farmer.
To the farm,
yeah,
right.
And pick your own milk. When I was a kid, I picked it every day. It was so nice. Fresh yeast.
Fresh yeast,
yeah.
right.
It's very easy to find too in supermarkets or in.
Yes, you can find it almost everywhere. Yeah.
One organic egg. Okay.
Do you always use organic products?
Organic and local. I don't care if they have the stamp of organic. If I know that they are organic and natural, I don't care if they pay the taxes. Because sometimes the taxes is too are too high for the small suppliers. So they work with passion and they work with taking care about our environment. So I help
with
them.
the environment, right? Excellent.
Next, cinnamon.
Cinnamon. Smells good. And this is brown sugar,
Brown
right?
sugar, but it's brown because they don't raffinate. It's from Paraguay, so they don't use chemicals to clarify it, and that's why it gets this color and this aroma.
I see.
You can put the chickpeas inside. This chickpeas comes from the north of Barcelona.
Just like this?
Yeah, just like this.
Straight into the bowl. Okay.
Perfect. And now a little bit of lemon zest. You rip it.
Oh, okay. I'll try to do this. This is the first time I actually
Just
use
turn,
this grater.
Now turn the. Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah, you don't have to arrive to the white.
Oh, right.
Just a little bit of white.
Because it's bitter,
It's,
right?
bitter, yeah. A little bit more.
Am I doing this right?
Yeah. That's perfect. And make like this.
Like this?
See. Perfect.
Okay.
It smells nice, eh?
Yeah.
I love it.
Delicious.
And now put the flour in. Normally we use
all of it?
Yeah, whole flour, because it helps us to be more tough. And now we mix. You can put the paste here, and we have to wait. Yeah, the batter. We have to wait between 20 minutes, half an hour.
For it to ferment,
yeah,
right?
to ferment.
I suppose. Yes.
And now we have to cover.
Well, I've never made a crema catalana before. No, I must
Perfect.
confess I
So
haven't. So
that's nice. The first step, you have to put the milk inside.
Okay.
Always fresh milk.
Cold, right?
Yeah, now cold. We put it here. Okay, the knife.
The knife.
Yeah.
The knife, what for? Oh, for the cinnamon, I suppose, right? No,
Now,
for the lemons.
For the lemon. So we cut the skin, taking care to put as low white as possible. Put the cinnamon sticks into, yeah.
Okay.
This cinnamon comes from Thailand. It's super good.
Smells great.
Yeah. You know, I always say that it's very important that it has to be organic, but fair trade is very important. Normally in chocolate and cinnamon, they use kits. It's slave kits, and
yeah, that's
I'm
horrible
super against
thing.
about this. Now make an infusion.
Okay, which means we bring it to boil, right?
Just 85, 90 degrees. If it boils too much, you take off the most bitter and hard taste of the lemon.
All right.
6 years ago, Carlo Petrini, the beginner of slow food movement, he comes, we invite him because we make a work of recuperation of a goat, the white goat, the Munsek goat, and was on spring and everything was green.
Yes.
He was impressed. That's the last paradise of Europe. And I said, it's nice, but don't say this. It's easy. Just crush a little bit the skin, open.
Yes,
And
I think I
we
can
need
do
the
that.
egg yolk.
Only the yolk.
Yeah. The egg whites, we put it on the fridge and we can make merengue or other preparations, omelets.
Okay, so Petrini was really impressed with the Villanova de Meià.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed with him because for me it's a leader and now it's a good
How many?
friend. All of them.
All of them?
Yeah.
Right.
Now he's a good friend and he's always clear when he's talking.
Right.
And he got a vision about the future of food and he changed my life on this. When I started like a chef 20 years ago, like a chef of the cuisine, I know that I'm making something special, and my mom, she makes something special, no? Just traveling all around Catalonia, picking the best products, but I know nothing about slow food movement, and I found it, and I found my
And he
my comfort
influenced
place.
your style, because if I asked you, how would you define your style as a chef? How would you define your cuisine?
I
What would you
make
say?
Catalan cuisine in the movement of slow food. So That's the way. Catalan cuisine with slow food.
That's good.
Yeah. Now we have to add the
next?
sugar.
And the whisk, no, I suppose?
Yeah, and whisk, but not a lot. Just mixed.
Not everything.
Oh, no. All the sugar.
Yes.
Yeah. And whisk it, whisk, but not like white.
Oh, right. Okay. Gently.
Yeah, gently.
Okay.
We don't have to forget, on the Middle Age, Catalan food was the most important on all the courts all around Europe. Okay, now we put the corn flour. Okay.
Okay. Corn flour.
Corn flour
Right.
or potato flour. It depends of the.
For the starch, right?
Yeah.
Oops.
Gently.
Okay.
Okay, it's enough.
Okay.
And remember, never mix sugar and eggs for 15-20 minutes, because if not, it's gonna be cooked. You know?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. If you mix it, it turns like. So it's not good for making things.
All right.
Perfect. Now we
Okay,
have to
what
wait
else?
until
We
it's
need
a
to
little
wait
bit
for the
warm.
milk, right?
Okay. And when it's warm, we mix inside. So
Okay.
I make like that, and you put the milk in. Okay.
We can put the oil.
The
on
oil and warm up,
Yes,
sí.
warm it up.
So always using extra virgin olive oil. Okay. It's the only
Even when
good
you-
oil in
even
in
when
Spain.
you fry.
Yeah. Now we have to put the
pour the
the
milk
warm,
in
warm
the-
milk
in the
inside
eggs,
the
right?
eggs. Yeah, gently too.
Smells great. Delicious.
Smells house. Home.
San Josep.
San Josep,
right?
sí, sí. Okay. We put it to warm up and cook it until it's cooked.
Until it's ready. Right.
85 degrees is the temperature, but my mom, she always said that it's when the foam is going out.
Oh,
Yeah.
and that takes a long time, I
Yeah,
suppose, no?
it's the 85 degrees of my mom.
Mhm.
Yes. We pass this too, because
Yes,
we don't want the
We'll pour
egg,
everything in.
yeah, we don't want the egg white that can rest on the recipe.
see. Okay.
And like this, perfect. And now low heat, and don't move like whisk, just move a little bit.
Again, very gently,
Yeah,
right?
very gently. And when the foam is going out, it's ready.
Okay, what happens now with this mixture of milk and eggs? We put it in the tray.
Yeah, when we finish, we put it on the tray, this one.
Yes.
And we have to rest until it's cold. Or
Right.
you can eat it warm too. It's super good, but
Okay.
I don't recommend it. Just a little bit. Bring the
All right, the bowl
chickpeas
with the batter,
butter,
right?
and I show you how to fry it.
It's not as simple as people think, right?
You have to do it like this and put it in.
Okay.
And now you see that it's close to floating. Pop, it goes up.
I should do it like this, maybe.
Yeah, you can do it
Okay.
like this too. And now we have to wait until are brown and crisp.
Okay. Tell me, which is the most exotic dish that you've ever tasted in your life?
Snake. The snakes, yeah. I was 3 days with Aboriginal people in Australia, and we went for hunt snakes and lizards, and we were walking on the Simpson Desert for 3 days until we found the best for them.
Really?
Yeah, it was amazing, and we cook it like a barbecue, but it was not
And what does it taste? What does it taste like?
like chicken, a mix of
Snake?
chicken and fish. Yeah,
So
it's enough.
That's
for me.
enough?
Yeah,
Okay.
starts to be perfect.
The foam starts to disappear.
Yeah.
Which means
So-
it's ready.
It's ready.
Okay.
We got it. Now you can put it on the
Yes,
paper
okay.
and
Take
it's
them
ready.
out, otherwise they
Sí.
will get burned.
Smells, look, quina crema.
Yeah.
I want some crema catalana.
Looks amazing. So now we leave it to cool, right?
To cool down, or we serve it warm at the restaurant, okay? Because we like to get a warm dessert, Now pick the sugar.
Okay, the brown sugar and cinnamon.
And the cinnamon.
And we coat them?
We coat like this.
Right.
Don't care
Excellent.
about it looks different sizes of the fritters.
If they are irregular, it doesn't matter.
No.
A few spoonfuls of crema catalana,
A few spoons
like
of
a
crema
bed,
catalana. Yeah,
a bed
like
of
a bed,
crema catalana.
Because you can dip it. You can dipping with the bunyols, with the chickpeas fritters.
Yes.
Like this. It's so nice. I like the simplicity of this dish. And the history, of course, because food has to get message in all the sense. We are more than chefs. If you are a chef, you have to take care about everything, environment, socials.
Well, thank you, Sergi, so much for coming today to the program.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
I'm so happy to get the opportunity of explaining what I'm doing. Yeah.
Good luck with all your projects.
Thank you.
Family. It's a reoccurring topic in small talk. That's why you should know some phrasal verbs and expressions to help you describe typical family situations. It's a parent's responsibility to raise or to bring their children up. It's officially their job, but what happens in certain situations? Imagine I have a daughter, but I have to leave the country to find work somewhere else. My mother would bring up my daughter while I'm away. I still love my daughter very much. We talk on the phone every morning and we Skype every day at night. We are very close despite the distance. We enjoy telling each other about our daily experiences and we get along very well. That's why on my vacation I always take the opportunity to go see her. Well, mainly her. But I love to get together with my whole family, my cousins and uncles, my aunts, everybody. We all share a common trait, good sense of humor. You could say it runs in the family. We love to tell each other jokes and stories that keep us in stitches, which means we can't stop laughing for hours. Everybody tells me my daughter takes after me, but I disagree. I think she takes after my mother. After all, they spend a lot of time together. She even has the same reactions as her. But it's not a bad thing. My mother is an excellent example. I look up to her very much. I admire her and respect her. She's a great role model. What can I say? She is my mother after all, and she's helping me look after my daughter while I'm away. Thanks, Mom. You're the best. Goodbye.
Before the end of the show, the Mediterranean family versus the Anglo-Saxon family on a new face-off. Stay tuned.
Brendan Jones arrived in Catalonia in the early 80s. He settled in Sitges, where he co-founded the Gay Sitges Link, a non-profit organization which aims to socially connect the gay and gay-friendly community in Sitges. Brendan is deeply in love with his host town and he organizes there different events and social projects, as well as running a cocktail bar with his husband, Joan. Let's have a look at Sitges through his eyes.
My name is Brandon Jones. I'm Welsh, and I've been living in Sitges since 1985. And I've discovered over the years that it's probably undoubtedly, the most creative village that I have been to in my whole life. Many people who come to Sitges, many of the artists, speak about the light. It has a special light. But for me, the thing which helped me to fall in love with Sitges was I realized it was very different from other Spanish towns that I've been to as a tourist town. And here, for example, there are no high-rise buildings like in Benidorm or Torremolinos. It's a very human place. It has lots of small streets. And you fall in love with the art gallery here or the restaurant there. It also has an amusing street called Sin Street. It had this, this aura as well of naughtiness, and being a gay person, it also had a huge degree of tolerance and respect and integration, so you could feel comfortable here. One of the first hotels I stayed at in Sitges was the Hotel Romantic, because as we got to know Sitges, we realized that that was the first gay or gay-friendly hotel in Sitges. And it had lots of cultural events going on as well at the time, and a wonderful atmosphere in the bar, very, very cosmopolitan, excellent conversation, good drinks, and the atmosphere with the garden as well. So it was a lovely place to be. It's obvious when you first come to Sitges, you walk around the old streets here, just the side streets. You have 101 different things going on, and lots of art galleries, and it has 4 or 5 museums. And this museum that we're in now, Cauferat Museum, was started as the home of Santiago Rusiñol. The Cauferat has been remodeled, and now it's absolutely beautiful. And it's because as well as having wonderful paintings, artwork and ceramics. The other thing that they do here, which I'm sure Santiago Rusiñol would have been very, very happy with, is that they have concerts in the summer. You have a glass of cava and different sorts of musical concerts. So one of the wonderful things about Sitges is you have so many things going on. You have so many different nationalities as well. And so you've got this wonderful, wonderful mixture of Catalan, Sitges traditions and customs, and all of these people who've come here, and they mix in very, very harmoniously.
And now it's time for Face Off, a weekly talk about a contentious issue. And as the Weekly Mag today is dedicated to family, this will be our subject today. We have 2 people involved in this Face Off, journalist Matthew Tree, writer Matthew Tree, and writer Ana Priscila Magrinha, who comes from Reus.
Yeah, hello, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
Good, good.
Well, tell me, what marks the difference between Mediterranean families and Northern Eastern families, in your opinion?
I come from a Mediterranean family, from Reus, as you have said, and I had experiences in my life with UK families, especially. I used to go to England when I was a teenager, and one of the major differences I could see on those times, it was the dinner table. I don't know if Matthew at home had a dinner table or a table in the kitchen or in the living room to have lunch or to have dinner. In my family, that family I was living with for a month during 2 summers, they didn't have a table in the living room. So we would have dinner or lunch just like sitting with our plates in front of the TV. And that was such a weird thing for me because it was okay, it was a really nice family, but you couldn't see the faces while having lunch or dinner. You would be watching the TV. I don't know, at home did you have a dinner table or not?
We had both, actually. We had the table in the kitchen, which is where I ate most of my meals, if I remember correctly. And for special occasions, there was the big table in the living room that was sort of set up, you know, and my father would start swearing because it never opened properly and stuff like that. And that was for special occasions like Christmas, for example. And I remember very clearly that Christmas there, it's completely different from Christmas here, is like families would only see each other once every 2 years, because 1 year you see one half of the family and the next year you see the other half. So in fact you've got people who don't know each other at all sitting around a big table drinking quite a lot of alcohol and eating a lot of food, and it always ended in these terrible arguments every Christmas. you know, and I remember as a little kid, me and my cousins we'd just sneak out after the meal, you know, and watch the James Bond film, which was always on after lunch, Christmas lunch, because it was a weird thing, you know, it was like families who didn't see each other very often.
Well, is that the case in your family?
Not because in my family you have to please everyone all the time. So if for Christmas Day you are with one side of the family, you have to get the car, and the next day you have to be in the other side of the country. It doesn't matter, but you have to see the other side of the family. So you have to see them all the time, every special occasion.
And how often?
How often?
For Christmas, I understand, and for Easter and so on. But apart from that, how often do you see your family?
If you're talking about my parents, I see them all the time. And if I don't...
you live in Barcelona and they live in?
Yeah, they live in Reus.
Reus.
Yeah, my parents live in Reus, I live in Barcelona, my brother lives in Mollerussa, my boyfriend is from Salt, Girona, and my grandparents, they were from Soria. So we had to go everywhere all the time, and now it's no difference. I want to see my parents, not every week, but maybe every 2 weeks we go to Reus, and every other week we go to Girona as well to see the family. So we have a special weekend, we don't go to see the family, but we don't have that many special weekends. The weekend is for the family, which is really nice, I have to say, because I love them dearly.
For Sunday lunch and so on, no?
Sunday lunch. To Reus, I go there on Friday, so I spend all the weekend there. So we have vermouth, we have Sunday lunch, we have everything.
I quite like that, you see. I think that's quite nice, because when I lived in London, you know, from, I don't know, when did I live in London? From about age 19 to 26, for example. I mean, I lived in South London, and my parents lived more or less in Central London. And we hardly ever saw each other, you know, and that was quite normal. I mean,
Whose fault was that?
Whose fault was that?
I'm sure your parents wanted to see you, but you were way too busy just living your...
Okay, I was with a bunch of anarchists living in a squat. But, you know, that aside, I mean, we could have seen each other more often. I mean, there was no reason why not, but it was like, no, that was it, you know, I'd left home. So my parents then had their life with their friends and all the rest of it, and they quite liked it like that, I think. I don't think they wanted me there every weekend, you know.
You should have asked them.
So, no, occasionally, I mean, we talked about this, when shall we meet and stuff like that. Occasionally we'd have a drink together or something, but it was all, and that was quite normal. I mean, most of the people I was with who were in my age group had a very similar situation. Their parents were living in different districts of London, and they hardly ever saw each other, except, yeah, occasionally, but not very often. Can I ask, what age did you leave home?
When I was 18, because I came to Barcelona to study.
Okay, so that's actually very unusual, because
Why?
the only thing I don't like about what happens in a lot of Catalan and Mediterranean families in general is that you find people who are 30 years old, 40 years old, 40 years old, and they're living with their parents.
That's awful, I have to say, yeah.
That's quite uncommon, 40 years.
I was once on a TV program precisely about this subject. How old can you be to live with your parents and that? And there was a man on there who was, I think he was over 40. I can't remember, 41, 42,
He's never going to leave the house.
No, I mean, you know, he's there until his parents die, basically. But they asked this guy, he got a bit irritated about that, about his sex life, you know, because you live with your parents, you're 45, and he got all grumpy and said, well, I go to a hotel, like that. But it seemed to me crazy, you know, that
I have a few friends who still live with their parents. I think it has to do with the crisis that really helps, and especially in Barcelona, since the prices of the rent are so crazy. But some people, they are comfortable with it, and I don't understand it. Maybe I'm more like a Northern European kind of thinker in this way, because the moment I could leave, I left.
The crisis obviously had an effect on everything, but I always thought it was more from what you said. You know, it was people who were just comfortable being at home. Because I told my own kids, you know, when they were about 7, I said, you have a choice, you know, you can leave home at 16 or 18, because
I thought you were kicking them out at 7. I was like, oh my God.
No, that would have been, no. That's not even English family tradition, you know. but because I didn't want them to get the idea that a lot of people in their age group, they're now teenagers, have, that they can stay at home as long as they want. The problem is, of course, that if they want to, it's going to be very hard to say no, because...
And what did they say? You offered
18
them...
if possible.
18, right?
Yeah.
Well, because they're really young now, they still want to be with their parents. Wait until they are, I don't know, 15, 16.
Oh, they are 15 now.
They are 15 now?
They are 15.
Time
and
goes
they're
by so
seriously
fast.
thinking about leaving home at 18. So I think that, you know, they've been trained to think in that way, something like that.
Priscilla, you said before that you think that the differences between the two cultures in terms of family life are in the small details. Can you think of other differences between families here and there?
For instance, here, when I was a kid with my parents, we would go out to see the country, we would go for walks, and I talk about UK because it's the country I know the most from Northern Europe.
Me too.
You too?
Yeah.
I kind of got the idea that my friends, obviously you cannot generalize, but people don't like to walk that much and they go to the shopping center, I'm guessing because of the weather, and they can be under a roof. But the things you can do with your kids, it's difficult to find nice things to do in there because it's all the time raining. Although when you do create an activity, you say we're gonna go to some place, even if it's raining, you go.
Exactly, it
Here,
doesn't matter if it rains or
here
there's
if
a
it's
storm.
raining, you stay home. So good for you, brave people from UK.
Yeah, I never had any problem taking the kids out in London, actually.
You don't care about the weather?
With weather, no.
Do they like to walk? My friends in UK, they don't like to walk.
Yeah.
They are I love my friends in UK, but they are kind of lazy, I'm guessing.
No, yeah, they like to walk because I like to walk. I suppose they're used to it as well. Yeah.
And in
I
Banyoles,
don't
it's very easy
drive
to
either.
walk, right?
And in Banyoles, it's very easy to walk, and I don't drive, which is another...
So you need to walk.
That's a great advantage, yeah.
Well, thank you both for your contributions to this debate. It's been really interesting. Matthew, I'll see you next week.
Definitely.
Thank you for coming. And Priscilla, I hope I see you soon again.
Thank you.
So much for today's show. See you next week at the Weekly Mag. And remember that you can follow us through social networks on the Weekly Mag TV. This week's final quote is by an American actor and comedian, Anthony Anderson. He started working on TV series, but his career was consolidated in the movies with titles like Transformers or Scary Movie. See you soon, and keep your English up and running.